Hello everyone and welcome to English Banisa. So today we are going to discuss a powerful and thought-provoking poem by William Blake, The Chimney Sweeper. This poem sheds light on the harsh realities faced by the child laborers in the 18th century, that reflecting blacks' criticism of social injustice and exploitation. So let's dive and explore it. But before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe and share my video to help others discover this content too. Thanks for your support. So, before moving further, let us know about the poet William Blake. William Blake was an English poet, painter, and printmaker. He is considered one of the most influential figures in English literature and art. Blake was known for his visionary and mystical approach, blending a unique style of poetry and visual art that often addressed social, political, and spiritual themes. Most famous works include Songs of Innocence and Experience, The Marriage of Heaven and the Hell, and The Book of Urizen. If we talk about the background of this poem, The Chimney Sweeper, it was published in 1789 as a part of William Blake's collection Songs of Innocence. Contrasting version of the poem was later published in 1794 in Songs of Experience. So these two versions contrast the innocence of children with the corruption and harshness of the adult world. Now, if we talk about the poem is written in six quatrains, meaning it contains six stanzas, each containing four lines. And the rhyming scheme of each stanza is double A double B. The main themes of the poem, like child labor and exploitation, innocence versus corruption, hope and despair, critique of organized religion and society. So the poem was used as a form of protest against the terrible practice of using children as chimney sweepers. These children, often orphans or sold by poor parents, they were forced to clean narrow horizontal chimneys in large houses. The work was extremely dangerous as they risked suffocation, burns, and even death. And many suffered from diseases caused by soot, and some got lost in the chimneys, with only their skeleton found later. So the poem highlights the cruelty and exploitation faced by these children in their daily lives during 18th century. I told you the poem consists six stanzas, so let's see each stanza in detail. So let's begin the poem. So in these 24 lines of William Blake's poem, Chimney Sweeper, a little boy who is telling the story of his despairing life as well as the sad tales of other chimney sweeper boys. So let's start the first stanza. When my mother died, I was very young, and my father sold me, while yet my tongue could scarcely cry, weep, 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 and weep. Chimneys I sweep, and in soot I sleep. Let's see the meaning of this. So here chimney is nothing but it is a pipe or vertical structure in a building that carries smoke or gas from a fireplace, stove, or furnace to the outside. And soot is nothing but it is a black powdery dirt, or we could also say ash, that comes from burning coal, wood, or other fuels. It often sticks to the surface like chimneys or walls. Now let's see the meaning of this stanza. So in this stanza the little boy narrates that he was very young when his mother died. He was then sold by his father to a master sweeper. When his age was so tender that he could not even pronounce the word sweep, and crying pronounced it weep, and wept all the time. Because the children were so young that they couldn't pronounce sweep and lisped weep. Means since the tender age, the little boy is sweeping the chimneys and sleeping at night in the soot, smart boy, without washing off the soot, means without washing the blackness. In this second stanza, the little narrator tells us the woeful tale of Tom Decker. This is very famous character in Black's many poems. Tom was called Decker because he belongs to Lady Decker Almshouse, means orphanage. So the inmates of the almshouse were founding orphans who were allowed to be adopted by the poor only. It may be a foster father who encased the boy Tom by selling him to a master sweeper. Little Tom Decker who cried when his head that curled like a lamb's back was shaved. That means Tom wept when his head was shaved just as the back of lamb is shaved for wool. So I said, "Hush, Tom, never mind it. For when your head's bare, you know that the suit cannot spoil your white hair." Means when Tom was crying, the narrator told Tom not to weep and keep his peace. Narrator told Tom to be calm because now his head is bare so that the suit cannot spoil his white hair. Now the reason the hair of Chimney Sweeper was cut short to prevent soot and dirt from sticking to it while they work in the chimneys and to reduce the risk. Now let's see the third stanza. Now the third stanza continues the story of Tom, who was calmed by the consoling words of the narrator. And so he was quiet, and that very night, as Tom was asleeping, he had such a sight. The thousands of sweepers, Dick, Joe, Ned, and Jack, were all of them locked up in coffins of black. That means the same night while sleeping, Tom saw a wonderful vision. He saw in his dream that many chimney sweepers who were named Dick, Joe, Ned, and Jack were dead, and their bodies were lying in caged coffins made of black colored wood. In the fourth stanza, the vision is completed. And by came an angel who had a bright key, and he opened the coffins and set them all free. Then down a green plain, leaping, laughing, they run, and wash in a river and shine in the sun. That means an angel who was carrying a shining key came near the coffins. Then the angel opened the coffin which contained the bodies and set all the bodies free from the bondage of coffins. Then the freed little sweepers of the chimney ran down a green ground and washed in the water of a river and dried themselves in the sunlight to give out a clean shine. This was really a very delightful moment for these chimney sweepers who got freed from the shackles of bondage labor, exploitation, and child labor. Now, in the fifth stanza, the little boy continues narrating the dream vision of Tom. Then, naked and white, all their backs left behind, they rise upon clouds and sport in the wind. That means all the little boys were naked and white after wash, because they washed themselves in the water of a river. Now, the meaning they were naked and white, all their bags left behind, that means they were naked because their bags of clothes were left behind. They cast off the burden of life along with the bags of soot at the time of death. Now, the naked and white, the little chimney sweeper boys ride the clouds and play in the wind. And the angel told Tom if he would be a good boy, he would have God for his father and never want joy. That means the angel told Tom that if he had would be a good boy, he would have God for his father, and there would never be a lack of happiness from him. In the last stanza, the narrator tells that Tom woke up and his dream vision broke up. Tom and other little sweeper boys rose up from their beds in the dark. They made themselves ready to work, taking their bags for soot and the brushes to clean the chimney. The morning was cold, but Tom, after the dream, was feeling warm and happy. So, in the last line of the poem, a moral has been thrown to us. If all do their duty, they need not fear any harm. That means the last stanza shows the reality of the sweeper's life. Poem sarcastically attacks the advanced societies that keep their eyes shut toward these children, but act as being generous among their near and dear ones, holding or attending some charity shows or functions, function for the poor and downtrodden people in their country. Moreover, it is surprising to note here that these social evils even today prevail in our society. So the poem criticizes societies that, despite their wealth and progress, remain indifferent to the suffering of these children. It points out the irony that while such societies may publicly display generosity through charity events and social functions, they ignore the real systemic issue of exploitation and child labor. So the poem highlights the harsh reality of child labor and the exploitation of innocent children, while criticizing society's neglect and false sense of charity. It also contrasts the innocence of children with the corruption and indifference of adults. So, The Chimney Sweeper by William Blake exposes the cruel exploitation of children through forced labor while highlighting the indifference of society and false hope which is offered by religion. Despite its seemingly innocent tone, the poem delivers a powerful critique of the social injustices of Blake's time, that urging readers to recognize and confront these enduring evils. So the chimney sweeper condemned the exploitation of children and society's hypocrisy, urging awareness of social injustice. So this is all for today's video, The Chimney Sweeper by William Blake. I hope it would be helpful for you. Stay tuned for more videos and thanks for watching.